As you can see by the calendar, we are finally getting the next roster update. By the time that the roster update comes out, it would have been 5 weeks since the previous one. It's felt like forever. It's the fielding update. It's the pitch type update, speed update. It's the biggest one in the year. Let's get into my predictions. I want to note is I don't actually have that many fielding, arm strength, speed, pitch type, upgrades for you guys to predict. This year, it was so much more difficult to find players. SDS, they killed it with their preseason ratings, or either they killed it or a lot of these guys just didn't change in Baseball Savant. There are a couple guys that a big factor of their investment is fielding, but the focus of these investments are just going to be regular investments if they're hitting well or they're pitching well. But on the other hand, Alejandro Kirk is one guy that I'm looking at on a defensive point of view. So if you look at his hitting attributes, 85-88 contact, 86 clutch, power is 54-44. Since the last update, which is July 11th, he's hit right around 300 with a 700 OPS against both sides. So I think that his hitting attributes are pretty accurate, and I don't think he's going to get any changes. His defense is where he could go up. His fielding rating is already 92, but I think his arm strength could go up. Pretty much everything else could go up. He's just grading out as an elite defender in everything except for his arm. His arm is grading out, I think, pretty well, like a little above average, but 50 is not a little above average for an attribute. He's been on people's radar for forever now. He's just been sitting at around anywhere between 2,000 and 2,500. You're not going to make the biggest returns, but it seems like Kirk is one of the safer options for this update, even though no one's safe. Edwin Diaz, I invested in the last update. I think he should have gone diamond last time, but whatever. He's probably the biggest lock in this roster update window. He literally hasn't given up an earned run since June 2nd. Those are the levels that we're talking about with Edwin Diaz. I know he doesn't have much room to grow on hits per 9 and Ks per 9, but I think he's going to get a boost to walks per 9. And then to both per 9s, and he'll get to at least an 85. Roldis Chapman didn't have much room to grow, and he went to an 86. So I'm not really worried about the room to grow. He is on the expensive side as well, but if you guys listened to me in the last time, he would have been much cheaper. Now this one, Yainer Diaz, is an interesting investment because I don't think it has a high probability for him to go diamond. I think it's probably around 30 to 40%, maybe 50%, somewhere around that range, definitely below 50%. But he does have a chance, and I'm putting him in this video just because there's practically no risk. What I mean by no risk, Yainer Diaz is an 84 overall, meaning his quick sell value is 1,500. He's currently on the market for, if you put a buy order in, for 1,535. So you're only risking 35 stubs for every single Yainer Diaz card, because if he just does not hit anything for this last week, you can just quick sell all your cards the day before the roster update. But let me get into why he might have a chance to go diamond. As you can see, he's hitting well against lefties and he's not hitting well against righties. Since the last update, it's been the opposite. Since July 11th, he has not been good against lefties, but it's only in 16 at-bats. But against righties, he's hitting over 300 with an OPS around 850. So I think he's going to get a decent upgrade to righties. I think he's going to go down a little versus lefties, but I think he can go diamond if his upgrades versus righties are bigger and more impactful than his downgrades versus lefties. And the lefty at-bats, it's only 16 at-bats. His righty at-bats are much more than that. He's been hitting righties so much more than he's been hitting lefties. So I think he legitimately has a chance. And at this price, you might as well. Now, in the last update, I think my best investment was actually Ceddanne Rafaela. I bought him at 800 a pop when he was an 81, and he went up to an 84. So I made insane returns already on Rafaela. When, the first 3-ish weeks of this window, so 7 days ago, he was hitting pretty well, right? He had that walk-off homer. Ever since they moved him to second base, which in a completely different point of view is the stupidest thing the Red Sox could ever do. It diminishes his value defensively. But anyway, Rafaela's dropped a little in price. He's around 1,700, but he's still in consideration for Diamond. He hasn't been hitting well overall since July 11th. He's hitting like overall around like a 600 OPS, which isn't good. But theoretically, his hitting attributes are already bad, so they might just leave them alone, and his defensive attributes could all go up. But it's like, how much is that going to bring his overall up if he doesn't get hitting increases and he only gets defensive increases, which there isn't any room to grow there. So I'm thinking about selling Rafaela ahead of the roster update, but I don't know what I'm going to do. I just wanted to mention him because he's still well above quick sell. One thing too that I forgot to mention in the beginning before we get into Yamamoto, the market is so cheap right now. This is literally the cheapest the market has ever been 5 days before, 6 days or whatever before a roster update. It's truly insane. So go buy your players now. I'm recording this on Sunday. It's going up on Monday, so hopefully the market doesn't skyrocket in the middle of making the video. But anyway, so Yamamoto here, he went up to a diamond in the first roster update. I invested in him. He went back down to a gold, and now I think he has a chance to go back up to a diamond. He's not that expensive. He's only 1,400 and his quick sell is 1,200, so you can still get in on him now. Since July 11th, he has an ERA of 1.46, 30 strikeouts, and only 5 walks. So I think Ks per 9 is going to go up, walks per 9 is going to go up, and I think hits per 9 isn't going to go up as much, but could go up a little, and I think that could give him an increase to diamond. It's a lot safer because he's cheaper. There is a very small chance, never say never, there is a very small chance that he goes down. Worst case scenario, he stays in an 83, and you might lose a little bit of stubs, but I think that this is a cheap and solid option. I literally bought Julio Rodriguez like 3 days ago, and last night, Saturday night, he hit 2 homers in a game. The people finally started realizing how much he's been crushing the ball since like the All-Star break, really. This is probably one of my favorite investments. I know he's already up to 2,000 stubs. I'm just happy I bought all 300 of him at 1,300 a pop. I've already made a lot of stubs on him. But Julio Rodriguez, since July 11th, has been truly one of the best hitters in the league. He's hit over 300 and an OPS over 900 versus both sides. So all 4 of those attributes could go up. Clutch could go up. And defense, he's not going to go down because his savant percentiles, they're very accurate to what he currently has. He could go up defensively too. I mean, he's just going to get upgrades across the board. And I think that it would be blasphemous if he doesn't go diamond. Now, every roster update video, I give you guys a player that is, more of a long-term investment. And last time I mentioned Christopher Sanchez, and I'm mentioning him again. This dude is unbelievable. He's the most underrated. He's truly like one of the most underrated players in the league. I would put him 3rd for NL Cy Young behind Skeens and Wheeler. He's just been unbelievable, and he's still very cheap. He is 930. 81 overall, quick sell is 600. So you are risking like 330 per Sanchez that you bought. But if you bought him when I told you to last update when he was an 80, you already made stubs like I did. And ever since the last roster update, I like doubled the quantity of Christopher Sanchez's that I invested in. I have over 1,000. I've never had 1,000 of one player in an investment that wasn't like some bronze for a fielding investment. Christopher Sanchez has been insane. He really has been insane. Since July 11th, he's at a 2.17 ERA, 5 walks, 35 strikeouts, and that is with one start that wasn't that good. He had one start against the White Sox where he gave up 4 earned runs. Every other start, 1 earned run, complete game shutout. And he's been like that literally since May. He's just been insane. And if you look at his attributes, he has insane room to grow for hits per 9, Ks per 9, and walks per 9. I legitimately think he could go diamond this update. I don't think he will, but I think he has a chance. My prediction is he goes to an 84, but yeah, I legitimately think he can go diamond. And if he does, if he does, you're making an insane amount of stubs. If he doesn't, you're making stubs anyway because the quick sell for an 84 is 1,500, and then if he goes diamond in the next update, then you just cash out. But Sanchez is easily one of my favorite investments all year. Shea Langeliers is the last player we're going to mention in this video, and I had no idea how insane he has been offensively. You guys ready for this? Since July 11th, he has hit versus both sides an OPS over 1100 and a batting average in the high 300s. Obviously, those aren't the only offensive stats that I look at and you should look at to evaluate a player, but I just dumb it down for you guys. Shea Langeliers, he could legitimately get a +5. He's very expensive for an 80 overall. He's at the quick sell of an 84, but he's going to get insane offensive upgrades across the board, and he's due for a defensive upgrade. All of the attributes he grades out a little above average, except arm strength he grades to be really good. Fielding is probably going to go up to like 60, maybe 65. Blocking is the big thing. Blocking is going to go up to around 70. So those two alone will give him like a +2, +3. And then maybe his hitting attributes going up could take him to diamond, maybe even 84. This is definitely very risky because you need him to go to an 84 to break even. But I legitimately think he could go diamond. So yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. If you guys are new here, follow me on all my social medias, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, but most importantly, make sure to subscribe in here on YouTube. So yeah, see you guys in the next one. Peace.